The other day, I met someone who said she likes Japanese tea, so I asked her, what type of Japanese tea do you like? She told me she likes Ujicha. Now that tells me that she knows a thing or two about Japanese tea. However, that answer is a little bit strange. So here today we're going to talk about what Ujicha is, why it's important for you to know as a drinker of Japanese tea, and also why it's similar in concept to champagne. Hi, I'm Yuki, I'm the founder of Tea Life, and here we break down Japanese tea so you can become a Japanese tea expert. So first, let's define what Ujicha is. Ujicha is an area brand. It means tea from Uji. Now, Uji is a city in Kyoto Prefecture, and it's one of the historically important tea production areas. Now, many people know this already. However, let's dig in a little bit deeper. It's actually not just a casual label you would slap onto the geographical area that is produced. It's actually a protected trademark by the Kyoto's tea industry. What does that mean? It means that there's a specific definition to what Uji tea is. What qualifies as a Uji tea? There's actually three components or three criteria to the definition of Uji tea. The first one is where the tea leaves are grown. And it can be grown in one of the next 4 prefectures. And not too many people know this, but it doesn't have to be only in Kyoto. It's Kyoto, Nara, Shiga, and Mie. So it's basically Kyoto and some of the surrounding prefectures where the tea can be grown to be called the Uji tea. So that's the first criteria. The second criteria is, although the tea farming can be conducted in those 4 prefectures, the processing has to happen within Kyoto itself. So that's the second criteria. And the third criteria is how it's processed. The manufacturing process has to be using the traditional Uji method of tea processing. So as long as you meet those 3 criteria, you can call yourself Uji tea. So in that way, Ujicha is not really a type of Japanese tea. It's more of a origin and manufacturing process designation of Japanese tea. So to say that my favorite type of Japanese tea is an Ujicha is kind of weird because it's kind of like saying that my favorite type of alcohol is a Japanese alcohol, which is not really answering the question directly. So why does Ujicha matter to you? It's because of the quality. Ujicha has built a reputation for great tasting tea. When you talk about a classy or polished or elegant Japanese green tea, usually Ujicha becomes the reference point. Over time, Uji has become the benchmark for other area brands. So when evaluating high-grade tea such as high-grade Sencha or Gyokuro or Matcha, the comparison would be implicit. It would be, how does it compare to Uji tea? As another way to indicate the quality of Ujicha, Ujicha is considered one of the 3 great teas of Japan. Now this is alongside Shizuoka and Sayama. However, I would actually go as far as saying that this saying itself, the 3 great teas of Japan, is actually a way to elevate Shizuoka and Sayama in comparison to Kyoto, because when you think about the history, by the time that Shizuoka and Sayama became a thing, Kyoto was already, the Uji tea was already well established. So it was more of a marketing way or a marketing term to really try to sell Shizuoka and Sayama in comparison to Uji. So that's how established Uji was. You can say that Uji tea really is second to none when you think about the standard it sets for quality Japanese tea. And yes, with the name, with the reputation, with the quality, you're also paying a little bit for the premium as well. So if you're buying a Uji tea, you're probably paying a little bit more, and that's also very important for you to know as a consumer. Let's talk about tea types now. If you happen to be in the Kyoto area, in the Uji area, looking for some Japanese tea, here are some of the types of Japanese tea you can look for. The first one is Sencha. Now, Sencha is actually invented in Kyoto, so that's the place where it started. The production or the invention of the methodology called Aose Seicha Seho, which is a way you kind of roll the leaves and crush the leaves in order to keep the greenness of the green tea green, to preserve the greenness of the green tea. That was invented in Kyoto. So when you talk about the classical, well-balanced, structured taste of Sencha, then Kyoto, the Uji tea is a great place to enjoy that. The second Uji tea I would like to recommend is the Gyokuro. Gyokuro is a shaded type of loose leaf tea, and it was also invented in the same Kyoto region by taking the the shading methodology that was used for matcha leaves back then already, they applied it to the loose leaf tea, and that's basically how they came up with the gyokuro. And the high standard that Uji tea set for gyokuro still continues to this day. So gyokuro is also a great choice if you want to take back a Uji tea. The third tea I want to talk about is obviously the matcha. Uji matcha is probably one of the most famous associations. When you talk about quality matcha, the first name that probably pops up is Uji matcha. But actually not just from an agricultural perspective. Matcha is significant in Kyoto from a cultural perspective as well. Uji tea has been associated for a long time to elite tea culture, and when you think about tea ceremony, where its progress has always been in Kyoto, which was the cultural and political center of Japan. Let me throw in another tea in there. So the fourth tea I would recommend as a Uji tea is the Ujicha. And Ujicha is a roasted sencha or a bancha. It's said to have been invented in this Kyoto area as well. So it's very interesting. It's not just the elite tea like the gyokuro and the matcha that's been invented in Kyoto. It's also a casual and approachable tea like the Ujicha. If you trace back its roots, it kind of originates in this Uji area. So there you have it. I hope you have a little bit more clarity on what Ujicha actually is. I'll be covering other area brands in the future, so if you have any preferences, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about Japanese green tea, please do subscribe to our channel, and then make sure you follow the link and subscribe to our newsletter, free newsletter, from the link below.